Alright, hey there. So, took that little break just to finish laying out the little air units. I didn't take all the time, I just put them above their airfields, like where they should be. And now we're going to kind of handle the ground units. So, I think that there's actually a way. Oh, whatever. You kind of have to decide where they go. And I'm going to be really, really, really lazy about this one because we just need to show it fast. So I'm just going to show you a few. I mean, it really is just laying out the units. Like, this isn't even really a thing. So, like, we'll use the map, and it's the red that are roads. And I'll say that since the Entente is coming from the top, we'll definitely have a tank coming in from here and a tank coming in from there, right? So, the tank coming in from somewhere around here. Let's do it in respect to that on the right of that. And on the left of it. Right? And we'll probably run them through in very similar ways. Artillery, they're attacking the city. Yeah, you can just straight up rotate. So we're going to actually have this artillery attack the city directly, so we can kind of talk about like what we were talking about. It may not be there. In fact, I bet I'm going to move it over here somewhere. We'll set up the train. This is probably a cool map because I think I can make the trains go straight through. Yeah, definitely make the Entente train be that. Cool. And again, I'm just going to do this in the most general sense. I'll show you why in a second. It's not such a terrible reason that's the case. We'll put a mic right there. And we'll go into this stuff. Cars. Let's see, we'll have the central cars run along this. No, I think I'll actually have the central cars run along, yeah, this. That's exactly right. And then we'll have our AA protection over here, our static protection over there. And that'll give AA on both sides. It's also good for identification of friend or foe. So these guys will be over here. This artillery will be over here somewhere, attacking this airspace. This is like the way that I'm laying this out right now is entirely personal preference. You know, like I like to do it very generally like this and then tighten it up. That is maybe not best. But that will generally have it loose like this and then actually run some missions with it. Probably because I'm sick of configuring things and I want to play a game, but maybe also because I want to check it out. So central tanks, they're going to be a little bit more on the defensive mindset. So we'll have them come from both sides. Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, you'll come into the city from here. You'll come into the city from over here. I want to make it clear that I mean that road. And then we'll put the static artillery. Now you're going to be a ground attacker straight up. And we're going to want you getting the far side. Get you over the city. Totally. Round this out, something like that. I feel like this is an important one. No, definitely through there. It's not an important one. Just through the center. Yeah, not an important one. we just want to cover the central airspace, like we want to dominate it. It's totally true. Okay. Here it's about airspace. Yeah, like that. Yeah, totally like that. Okay, then these guys are aerostats, whatever. Okay, cool. So all that stuff's laid out, and this is the condition under which I would actually play the mission a couple times. Just like I said, probably because I was goofing. But since that is probably goofing, we are going to actually lay out a couple of these, and then I will stop, and I will finish laying out the rest of these, and I'll attach this mission to the forum somewhere. I forgot to set out these repair units. I haven't like totally worked out exactly how I want to do the repair yet, and so I'm really lazy about setting them up. And I'm just leave them in the background so they still perform the function they're supposed to perform. But I really want to integrate them a little bit more deeply, and I just haven't got around to thinking about how to do that. So, but for now, let's just do a couple little. We'll just set up a couple of these units, and I'll show you just some kind of nice ways to do it. So we were going to come down the road on this one, and this is our road. So what we're actually going to want to do is we're going to want to flip this set, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and have it be this direction, right? Give it to it generally on the road. We'll take these guys up here, put them down, and these guys go the rest of the same direction we want. So we can move them over here and just kind of move it around. And now we already have a pretty good layout. We're pretty close, and I'm going to show you why just being pretty close is pretty great. I worked on that one all night. But the first thing we're going to do is actually lay out our units. So in here comes, wow, this is really chunking along right now. I don't know why. So form 1 is on-road column. We want that. All of these units, all of them, come with a little static set. You saw some of the airplane ones. The static set makes sense. I mean, like you can use that, but of course it's going to get like absurdly samey if you just use the same ones all the time. But each of the units have different little static groupings with them. They're not entirely sane. You know, like some of the things don't fit, and the fact that there's only, I mean, you saw already with the airplanes that there's really only like the 4 possible static airplanes if you don't have the nice, very nice mod, by the way. So I just kind of figure out which one's the leader, which is this guy. I set them up how I want. These guys are going to be joining a little formation and running on the road, so it doesn't really matter that much. And then when you're up close as you want to be, you can just open this up, move camera to object, and now we can just walk along. Rotation does not matter for cars, which is really great. See, now we can just walk along, and like these things are already laid out. I mean, it's not great. Like, this process is a tedious process, there is no doubt. And you definitely have situations like what I just had, where I lose the road. But, like, you're already pretty well spaced, and it was pretty easy to do that. I mean, you still do have to do this for a bunch more parts, and a bunch more units, and that does, as I said, it takes about 45 minutes. But you can get pretty fast at it. I find that the tanks are kind of the most time consuming because they're the ones you really like think about. Like, what do I want to do with it? And like then events like this happen, like I'm only pretty close to the city. I need to move this forward. And so fortunately that's easy. You know, like I can really just take road movement is so friendly, your waypoints don't have to be all that close to each other. Ships, on the other hand, everything has to be tip top in the Navy. Yeah, we'll bring them all the way you get the idea that even with a pretty significant re-alteration, this is pretty fast. And that's it. That's a tank. Done. And I mean like done. It's ready to go. Save it. So we could do another tank, but that would be boring. Let's do artillery. As I kind of know what I want this artillery to do. I want this artillery to attack that city. And I want it to be tied to that tank that we just set up. So first we're going to find a kind of cool place. This is really just like mission editing junk. So there's the city. Here's my units. I want them like, it's really hard to move stuff around here. Or I have a lot of trouble with it. We'll rotate it. Yeah, like that. See, now they can really hit the city. They can see the road. We're all good. So they're set up, and then you have to, of course, set up their controls, which are right here. And so we want them to actually attack the city, right? But we don't want to attack the city until they got like a good target. And so we're going to say attack ground. We're going to make it be much smaller, 500, and we're going to let them attack for a while too, 7 minutes. Right, so since all this is wired, like those kind of configurations are good. And then what we're going to do is, like, we can see the little waypoints. We're going to make this pretty small too. And it's checking for just our friends' vehicles. So when our friends' vehicles get here, we're going to bomb. And it's going to let us, like, the vehicle will pass by the bombing. It'll be cool. It'll do a cool thing. Setting up the train, I don't think I need to show you. In fact, I think that actually makes an example of everything. So I've probably talked for like an hour, and I'm sorry that that took so long, but this is, I think, a pretty good example of how it happens. I will be attaching this mission shortly as soon as I finish it and give it a playthrough to make sure it's not insane. But that's really it. Like, all I have to do now is lay out the rest of the ground troops and put the airplanes on the ground, if that's what you want to do. So I hope everyone enjoys and that this has been informative. Please feel free to ask questions. I can type things too. See ya.